Okay, very good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Lasham Daily Briefing for Thursday, the 3rd of July, 2025. We won't hang around, we'll get stuck in, beginning with the synoptic picture starting yesterday lunchtime. What we can see here is a decaying cold front that's moved through, giving us some slightly more unstable air. We can also see this high centered just sort of off towards the Azores, moving its way up now, ridging in overnight, beginning to push that frontal activity away. And by midday today, the high pressure is very much dominating. We've seen the air pressure increase quite significantly over the last 24 hours. It should hopefully give way to some very good soaring conditions and into tomorrow as well. High pressure continuing to dominate, but the frontal activity associated with this low pressure up to the northwest beginning to work its way in a little bit more. This morning's sat pick, you see clear across most of the country, certainly as far as sort of Liverpool way, looking very nice. Nothing that's going to affect us in that respect today. And of course, nothing on the rain radar associated with that. And if we run the Met Office precipitation predictions through, we'll have nothing to affect us throughout, apart from the occasional shower potentially, very light later on. Got a bit of showery activity over Ireland there, but nothing that's going to be a problem for us. Odium are failing to produce a TAF for us this morning, but looking at their META, they were giving 3605, so very light winds today, starting a little bit more from the north and going more round to the west later on. Cavite to begin with reasonably high pressure there of 1029 with no significant weather. Farnborough, on the other hand, they have given us a TAF and they're predicting 320 degrees on the wind, 9 knots, Cavite throughout. Spot winds then. So south of us, we've got 0705 and the north is variable at 5. To the north of us, a little bit more defined, 260 degrees, 10 knots at all levels up to 5,000 feet. On windy here, we can see gentle, very, very gentle westerly flow across the airfield. Nothing significant on the ground today, but we'll be using runway 27, as I'm sure you've all worked out by now. And just confirming that with the Met Office local forecast there. You can see light westerly beginning to be a little bit more northerly this morning, but settling in westerly and eventually west-southwesterly throughout. 5 or 6 knots, gusting up to 20 later in the day. Not as warm as it has been in recent days, only 22 is the warmest today, feeling more or less the same. Excellent visibility, however, and very high UV warning, so do look after yourself in that respect. GFS giving us about 24 degrees in terms of temperature with a dew point of around 5 today. Looking at the webcam on the south side facing west, we can see there no significant cloud, nothing in the upper level, and that light westerly component to the wind there, bigger pardon, northerly component to the wind. And we're already up to 17.8 degrees with a dew point of 9.1. We move on to SkySat now, it's reloaded itself. Start with a potential flight distance, as we can see, looking very, very good up to the north and sort of in all directions from Lasham, really. Point forecast locally, we can see here blue to begin with cumulus starting to pop later on. Strong climbs up to about 6 knots and in excess of 7,000 feet, possibly even up to 8,000 feet later on today. Possibility of some slightly thicker cloud coming in later on, but that might just be a bit of sort of light cirrus and potentially a bit of overdevelopment later on. But it should be going fairly long today. Thermal top winds, we can see fairly light, 10, 12 knots northwesterly, and that fairly high pressure as well, dominating as it has been for the last day or two. If we look at top meteor now to see what the cumulus picture looks like, starting at 9 o'clock local, We'll run it through hour by hour, and by 10 o'clock, you can see there's quite a lot of cumulus already showing in the southwest of the country. We should be starting to see a Lasham by about 11 o'clock, and that'll stay with us throughout today. What we can see here, though, is a band of sort of medium thickness cirrus beginning to move its way in. So it'll be interesting to see if that does, in fact, arrive. And it doesn't cause any huge issues, but it will start to dampen things a little bit. And you can see the cumulus begins to dissipate with that passage. But we should still have QQ up to the north by that 7 o'clock local, so it should be working fairly well. And by 8 o'clock local time, it's going to balloon out. No TAMs today then, so it's quite a busy picture here. We'll just cover the sort of key ones. So obviously we've got the sort of temporary Class D airspace for this Royal flight. It's not shown particularly well in this picture, so I would advise you to have a look on the likes of Sky Demon or Spine yourselves. But I can tell you that CTA, or the temporary CTA 1, goes from 4,000 to flight level 905, and that's from 12:44 to 13:50 local time. CTA 2 is from 4,000 to flight level 105, and that's from 12:44 to 13:50 local. And the CTR 1 at Kemble, controlled by Kemble, that's from surface to 4,000 feet, and that is from 12:50 to 13:50 local. CTA 3, which is close towards London, that is from 12:44 till 13:35 local. And just a couple of other ones locally here, down over towards the Salisbury Plain danger area, 41 and 42, that's paragliding at Westbury and San St Bernard. Those are from up to just over 3,000 feet, both of those. We've also got paraglider winching at West Ilsley, and that's from surface to 1,400 feet. The Little Rissington parachute drop zone, temporary parachute drop zone, that's active from 9:30 local this evening, so that's 21:30 local, so that's not going to affect us. But their ATZ is active from 9 o'clock AM until 8 o'clock PM. We also have a temporary ATZ established at Silverstone from 10 o'clock till 1300 local, and that will have associated with it some quite intense rotary activity in the run-up to the British Grand Prix. That's all I'm going to cover. There's a few other things embedded in there with danger areas over towards Cardiff, but do make sure you carry out your own pre-flight planning and you make sure that you are fully briefed. We'll move on now to the local airfield briefing, starting with the Odium cross section. As you can see there, nothing much to write home about, suggesting cumulus beginning to pop with a base of just under 5,000 feet around 10 o'clock local, and that's running all throughout today. Winds light beginning, again, as we said, northwesterly, and then coming around a bit more to the west in the afternoon, light and variable. Excellent visibility up to 50 kilometers on the surface, and pleasant temperatures of sort of 22, 23 degrees in the warmest part of the day. Glide bookings for club flying. There are 2 K21s for the courses. We've got 2 K21s on booked instructional flying, and there's a K21 on the casual list. There's also a K13 assigned for trial lessons today, and we have good single-seater availability. At the moment, there's 5 on the casual list, so if we could have an instructor or 2 to help, that would be much appreciated. And the simulator is available as normal. Just a reminder again about the Boyne expedition. It's basically starting to book up now, so make sure you don't miss out. You get your name down for one of the 3 weeks and get in touch with the office. Nothing to report from 2XL today. And in summary, we've got high pressure ridging from the Azores with light westerly winds. Excellent soaring conditions are expected all throughout the day. We'll be operating runway 27 today. Cables on the south grid is 27 north grass. And as we've been doing on 09 and 27 recently, heavy gliders may use the runway as part of the grid, and they will be launched in turn. Please make sure you're ready when the cable or tug arrives. Launches will be available from as soon as the tug pod is ready, so hopefully 9:30 or earlier. And do not land or taxi on the disused runways shown here in red. Finishing there with the airfield setup with the winching on the south of the hard runway, hera towing, heavy gliders, and club towing after the grid's gone on the hard, and the grid in its usual place on the north side grass. That's all from me this morning. We'll see you out there very shortly. It's going to be incredibly busy today, so let's make sure we have fun, but let's keep it safe. Thank you very much.